started. We can start, let's start in a seat for today. And I mean, if it's not your jam, totally fine, but I will absolutely encourage you to sit up on a block or a pillow, one of the two, if you have one. And simply because we were just talking about our shoulders and posture. And when we sit up on a block, not only can it help our low back sort of like maintain its natural curve whenever we get our hips higher than our feet, but it can also help our posture in like our shoulders, like our upper back, right? Because then we're not, oftentimes when we have to create that like easy seat, we sort of, it's not so easy. And we like round in our upper back just to compensate for maybe the tightness in our hips that might be there, myself included. So if you're sitting up a little bit higher than your feet, like on a pillow or a block, you will be able to just like lengthen and feel those 3 natural curves that exist in your spine, just like you were standing in neutral, right? You would try and find the same thing in a seat. So yeah, like take your knees as wide as they need to be. And you can let your hands rest on your knees, your thighs, and your lap, whatever like allows your shoulders to just find this like sweet neutral spot, we'll call it. So not pulling forward, not too far back, just right in the middle. And allow the eyes to close if you can. Maybe just take a swallow and notice how that might allow your tongue or your jaw to soften. You might notice that you were holding tension there and you weren't even aware of it. And take a big breath in once you're there. Maybe even let the lips part, let the breath just slowly exhale through the mouth. One more like that, breathe all the way in. Maybe even let out an audible sigh as you empty. As you start to pause in the middle of your day, just like honor yourself for just showing up, for creating a little bit of space in your day. And you might here just connect with what it is you'd like to cultivate a little bit more of with this time that you have in this moment of pause. So it might be just movement. It might be breath. Maybe it's patience or courage or ease. There's so many different things that we can just send our attention to, which can hopefully, as a result, like fortify just that or bring in a little bit more in your day. And again, take a breath in. Long breath out. And slowly start to drop your chin towards the center of your chest. And roll your right ear over towards the right. Nice and gentle, never forcing. And then back through center, left ear over to the left. Maybe do that one more time. Draw it down through center and over to the right. And then roll through center over to the left. Back through center, and then just lift your chin all the way up. Open through the throat. So nice. And then back through the center. Just take a moment, keep everything the same, look over to the right. So like just turn your head, notice what happens there. If there's anything that feels tight, soften. Maybe back off just a bit. And then back through center, look over to the left. So nice. And then back through center, sweep the arms out and up. Take a big breath in. If you'd like, interlace your fingers above your head and flip your palms up like you were pressing something up. And your arms can straighten if you want, but you can also soften through the elbows and then think about your shoulder blades drawing down your back. So it's less about how high you press and more about what happens in the neck, in the shoulders, and the upper back. And then look up, take a big breath in. Awesome. And then release. Take palm over palm behind your back. So palm over palm right above your sacrum. Take a breath in, maybe start to squeeze the elbows back a little in space. Feel across the chest, the collarbones open again, lift through the face, through the chin. Awesome. Now keep your hands there. Start to round your upper back. So your shoulders go forward, drop your chin towards your chest. Just a different way to find this cat-like pose in the upper back or stretch here in the upper back. Awesome. And then take your arms out to the side. Drop your right hand down and just lean over to the right. So you can stretch to your degree through your fingertips, soften the elbow if you need to. Maybe even create like a goalpost-like arm. And then rise back up, arms like a T, and then you'll just drop over to the left. Same idea. Either arms straight or the elbow can be bent. And this can even allow for a little more strength in the upper back, keeping the elbow bent here. Different sensations. Find what you need. Take one more breath in. And back through center. Bring your hands together right in front of your heart just for a moment. Feel your heart, your sternum lift towards your thumbs. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open up your mouth. Let out that sigh and come back to your intention. Just bring it back to your mind. Breathe in, fill all the way up. Open your mouth. Soften something. And you can open your eyes if they aren't already. And meet me on hands and knees. Tabletop pose. And you can, once your feet are underneath you or behind you, right, you can even start to untuck the toes. And if you have sensation in the feet after taking a long seat, you can gently tap the tops of your feet onto your mat. Maybe roll out the ankles if you need to, wiggle the toes. Fan out the fingers and take a breath in. Start to drop the belly down. And I want you to find cow pose, but be aware of where your shoulder blades are in this shape. So if that means you have to soften the elbows to feel the shoulder blades go down your back slightly, you may not find as much of a sway, right, in your back or as much of a U shape. That's okay. So let it be about something different. Soften the elbows, shoulder blades down your back. I knew that was going to happen. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my phone rings on my end. You guys didn't hear it? Awesome. Okay, great. I just totally took you out of the flow for no reason at all, other than I got a phone call in my ear. It was my dad. It's fine. So take your shoulder blades down your back and then squeeze that space right below your shoulder blades. Soften through the elbows. It might take a moment to really find, and then see if you can lift your sternum, maybe look straight ahead. It's just like a different sensation or a different focus on a different place in your back. And then as you exhale, press into your hands. Now start to lift that space towards your shoulder blades. Drop your chin towards your chest and drop your head. Awesome. Stay here for a moment. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, send your seat back towards your heels, similar to what we did earlier in the week. Awesome. And then you'll come back to center, back to neutral. Walk your hands up your thighs. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Allow them to fall down your back. Do that one more time. Breathe in, draw them up. Breathe out, draw them back and down, and just step your right foot forward. So coming into that lunge. So nice. Bring your hands to your hips. And then rather than making this like the deepest lunge ever, I want you to think of almost like two 90-degree angles. And then pull your right hip back slightly in space so your pelvis is in neutral. And then think about dragging, and I won't be able to see it, right? But think about dragging your right heel towards your left knee and your left knee towards your right heel. They obviously aren't coming together, right? But it's just this different sort of action that happens, obviously in the front of the left thigh, right? And then the back of your right leg. So your right hamstrings, your left quads. I want you to just think about that drawing in action. We're going to do that in a few different shapes. Keep your hands on your hips. Take a big breath in. Soften your shoulders. Awesome. And then release that engagement. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Right hand to your left wrist. Lean over to the right. So you can just give that a little bit more of a stretch in the left side, and then come back up. Hands come down inside your right foot and start to wiggle walk that right foot out to the right, just a little. Now you can rock the hips forward. Maybe think about lifting the heart like you did when you were on hands and knees, looking straight ahead. And then exhaling, pull your hips back just enough to pick your right toes up off the ground, getting a stretch in the back of the right leg. And then again, rock forward, maybe lift through the chest, thinking like that cow pose before, and then exhale to pull your hips back, pick the right toes up. And then you rock back forward, tuck your back toes and lift the left knee up, spin the back heel down, rise up to warrior two. So you can even heel toe that right foot so it comes in line in the middle of your back foot, right? Your heel just like would intersect with the middle of your left if you were to draw a line. And then straighten your legs, reach the arms up and overhead, big breath in. And then exhale back, warrior two. One more like that. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten the legs, parallel the feet. And then exhale, wide leg forward fold. Soften through the knees, drop the head. Shake it, yes. Shake, no. Open and close your mouth a few times. Softening the jaw. Awesome. Now take a halfway lift. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, maybe even heel toe your feet a little bit closer. And then exhale, refold, soften the knees, drop the head. Do that one more time. Inhale, halfway lift, think your chest reaching forward. And then exhale, fold. So nice. Now, halfway lift. I want you to see your left foot. You're going to frame it at the back of your mat. So it's like we're taking a little bit of a circle here. Might feel strange. And then just step right foot up to meet the left. You're going to land in a forward fold facing the back of your mat. Now, start to bring your hands to your shins or your thighs, halfway lift. I want you to press into your legs. And like you did before, reach your heart forward. And then think about or notice your shoulder blades pulling down your back a little bit more. And then maybe even slightly together. Bring your hands to your hips, stand all the way up, but keep that same alignment in your upper body, in your upper back. Take your arms down along your sides, palms facing forward, full breath in, full breath out. Awesome. Now bring your hands together at your heart just for a moment. You're going to play with balance and shift your weight into your right foot. Similar to what we did earlier this week, pick your left knee up hip height, create a 90-degree angle as you start to balance here. And you might wobble, that's totally fine. But if you want a little more, press your left heel forward and then maybe even reach your hands up, play with balance. Take one more big breath in, try not to lean back with the upper body. And then as you exhale, swing that left leg behind you, bend the right knee, land in a high lunge. Now bring your hands to your hips like you did in that lower pathway or you were on the ground. I want you to soften your left knee and even just like bend it a little bit, almost like you were going to create these like two 90-degree angles. But then press down through your right heel and imagine you were doing the same thing as before when you were on the ground, thinking about your left knee drawing slightly forward, pressing down actively through that right heel, maybe even like you were drawing it back, like you were bringing them towards one another. Take one more big breath in. So nice. And then lower your left knee all the way down to the ground. Ha. Reach your arms up and overhead. Again, right hand to your left wrist. Lean over to the right. So just finding the hips in a different way. Also noticing where your upper body lands as you move, and then rise up. Take a breath in. Hands come down inside your right foot. Now, a little bit of a change. Start to take your left toes, your back toes. I want you to turn them over towards the right. I'm going to try and explain this as best I can. We're going to do it together. And then you can wiggle walk that right foot in a little bit towards the center of your mat. Rise up to this modified warrior two. So your left knee is on the ground. Your arms are out long. You're facing the long edge of your mat. Take a breath in and reverse here. Right hand will go high. Awesome. And then exhale, forearm to your right thigh. Left arm either over your ear. Bend it like a half goalpost or let it wrap around your low back. All options, different sensations. You pick what you need. Take a breath in, long breath out. One more inhale, maybe feel your heart lift or turn towards the sky, ceiling a little more. Awesome, and then come back up, arms out like a T. Now we're gonna get ourselves back to the front, but take your left hand down, and then reach your right hand high, pick up your right leg. This is like a mind game today. Take a breath in. If you want a little more, tap right elbow, right knee towards one another. Do that again. Inhale, pull it apart. Exhale, draw it together. Pull it apart. Hands and knees, tabletop pose, facing the front of your mat. You've returned. Start to drop the belly down just a little and then draw the shoulder blades down your back. Maybe that means just softening the elbows like 5-10%, and then lifting your heart, looking forward. And then exhale, round your upper back, drop your head. Maybe even send your seat back towards your heels a little more to deepen that stretch. Coming back to neutral. Walk the hands up the thighs. Reach your hands up and overhead. Take a big breath in. Interlace the fingers. Press the palms up. Maybe even look up. And then hands come to your hips. Step your left foot forward, creating this 90-degree angle with both knees. And with your hands on your hips, can you pull your left hip back? Create that neutral with the pelvis. And then again, think about there are like two magnets between your left heel, your right knee, and they were drawing towards one another with this force that like you couldn't see, but you can feel. And then can you lift through the top of your head? Create a little bit more sensation. Full breath in, breath out. And then you can let that go a little bit. Reach the hands up and overhead. Left hand to your right wrist, lean over to the left. And back up through center. Hands come inside your left foot, both of them. Wiggle walk that foot a little wider. Out to the left. Tuck the back toes, lift the right knee up. Spin the heel down. rise up to warrior two. And you get that little moment to flow here with breath. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, sink back down, warrior two. One more, inhale, rise. Exhale, you sink. Rise up, parallel the feet. Hands can come to your hips here if you want. Lift the heart. And then fold forward, that wide leg forward fold. Soften the knees if you need to, of course. Take movement if you need it. You're just here for 2 rounds of breath, not too long. And with your hands down or fingertips grazing the ground, halfway lift, maybe even walk your feet a little closer for support. And then exhale, fold. Drop the head back down. One more like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Heart forward, shoulder blades down your back. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Now it's the right foot at the back of your mat. You get to frame it in that lunge. Take a breath in, look to the back of your mat, and then just step your left foot to meet the right. Separate the feet a little more, halfway lift, but press your hands into your shins or your thighs. I like to even bring them all the way up to the thighs, so then I can squeeze the shoulder blades slightly together and really draw shoulders away from the ears. Think about squeezing the elbows in as well. Keep that, hands to your hips, stand all the way up. Now, arms done along your sides. Pause. Spread the toes nice and wide. Breathe it in. Long breath out. And then bring your hands together just for balance, and then start to shift weight into the left foot. You'll pick the right knee up hip height. Now, you may love this. You may not love it so much. But wherever you land, see if you can think about the crown of your head lifting, not tipping back to compensate, and not rounding forward. Of course, we keep that engagement of the upper back. Maybe press the right heel forward. You can even reach the hands high. Take a full breath in to stay wherever you are. And then as you exhale, swing that leg back, land in a lunge, high lunge. Hands can come to your hips as you soften that right knee. Imagine you draw that right knee towards your left heel. So not like really letting them like cross, letting that knee cross the center line, but just draw it forward. Like there was a magnet between your knee, your heel. Stay here, full breath in. Again, shoulders down your back. Reach the hands up and overhead. And then left hand to your right wrist, lean over to the left. So nice. And then inhale back up through center. Awesome. You'll slowly, slowly, slowly drop that right knee all the way down to the ground. Bring your hands inside your left foot. Now here's that fun, funky move. You get to then send your right foot over to the left this time. And you can heel toe that left foot in a little bit more over to the right, and then rise up to that modified warrior two. Reverse here, left hand will rise. Left forearm to your left thigh, that modified side angle. Your choice with your right arm. Stay for a breath in. Come back to that intention, breathe out. One more like that, full inhale. Full exhale. Bringing the arms back like that letter T, long and wide. Now it's the right hand that will come to the top of the mat. Maybe you pick that left leg up. Left arm can reach over your ear if you want. Full breath in, pull it apart. And then exhale a little bit more if you want it. Elbow and knee tap. One more, inhale, pull it apart. Exhale, they tap. Pull it apart. And then it's your tabletop pose. We've made 2 circles. Excellent. Find your cow pose. Let it feel good. And then exhale, round your back, drop your head. Cat. Take your knees a little bit wider, big toes come together. Seat back towards your heels, child's pose. Your forehead can come to your mat or a block or a pillow underneath you. You're here for about 5 breaths, so allow yourself to find ease, to sink in, to ground down a little more. Coming back to this sense of pausing. Knowing that a pause can be incredibly productive. Full breath in. Long breath out. Slowly start to come back up. Reset your hands and knees. Take any final movement that you need here before we make our way to the seat. And when you're ready, swing your legs around out in front of you. Have your props nearby, particularly your pillow or block or both. And just come to an easy seat. One shin in front of the other, one ankle in front of the other, knees nice and wide. Shrug your shoulders as you breathe in. And then actively draw your shoulder blades slightly together and down. Stay here, breathe in and out. Maybe you notice how it does feel a little bit different when you're on the ground versus a little bit higher up on a block or a pillow. Just become aware of it. And then take your legs out in front of you. Give them a shake. And start to take your pillow behind you and place it lengthwise. Or if you don't have a pillow handy, no big deal. You can also take your block, but be mindful of where you place it because it is hard, right? You never want it lower than the tips of your shoulder blades. And we've been talking a lot about the shoulder blades. So let that be your sort of place where you focus, and you'll place it along your spine. If you're just using a pillow, you'll be able to adjust it as needed once you lie back. So start to find that sweet spot where you still maintain that nice natural curve in your low back, but your heart starts to feel supported. The back of your heart is supported. And then you can roll out the ankles, fan out the toes. You might even reach your arms directly overhead for a moment and just think about lifting through the fingertips. Notice how you round the upper back here. And then as you exhale, drop, use gravity, right? To feel the heads of the shoulders just sink closer towards the ground. And if you want to bend through the elbows for a moment, to open through the chest, take goalpost arms here. That feels like too much. Bring the elbows closer, like the letter W. Maybe arms then drop down to the ground and your forearms rest where they'd like to rest. There's all different places, right? Nothing is labeled as better or worse. Just what your body needs in this moment right now. And if the elbows need to come closer, allow them to come closer. Make sure the back of the head is supported by something, whether it's the ground or that pillow. And if this isn't serving you, of course, at any time, remove those props underneath you. Right here, take a big breath in, feel the front of your body expand. Open up your mouth, slow exhale out. Do that 2 more times. Breathe in. Maybe even make this like hissing sound, like a to encourage that slow exhale. One more, breathe in. Slow breath out. And if this is exactly where your body wants to land for your rest, your Shavasana, of course you can stay. But if you'd like to find your whole back or your whole body rather supported by the mat rather than props, you can remove them. And take a few moments to get yourself nice and comfy, supported as you need. And again, take a breath in. Slow breath out. Give yourself permission if you need it to rest, to let it be purposeful. And if your mind wanders to moments that have either already happened or haven't even happened quite yet, come back to that idea or intention of what you'd like to cultivate just a little bit more of in this moment of pause. And just notice your next incoming breath. And find slow, subtle movements as you need them, your fingers, in your toes, maybe even your ankles, your wrists, and the neck, the head, even the features of your face. And start to bend your knees just enough to roll to the side of your choice. And press yourself up to a seat. And bring your hands together in front of your heart, maybe even slightly bow your chin towards that space. And again, honoring yourself for creating the space in your day so you can create a little more space in your body in between your breath. And as a result, maybe even in between your thoughts. And you can get to choose what you fill that space back up with. So maybe it is just a little bit more of what you'd like to create in your day, whether that's breath, patience, kindness, intentional movement, whatever it may be, bring that to your mind. Full breath in. Open up your mouth, slow exhale out. If you'd like, take your thumb tips to the center of your forehead, letting this time be where you cultivate more kindness towards yourself. So you can then share that kindness in your own way with others. Namaste. Happy Thursday.